What's up, everybody? Welcome in to Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast, Monday, September 25th. Brendan Glasheen with Charlie DeSturco and BJ Cunningham today. Just a 4-game slate in baseball. 4 games. This feels like a playoff day in MLB, which we are here during the regular season. It's our final week of the regular season. We're here this week, Monday, Tuesday, Friday. I've been telling you, if you've been tuning in regularly, that we would have announcement / we would give you the plan for the postseason. Basically, the plan is whenever there's a game, we'll have a show. So especially during that wild card series and when there's like 4 games a day, 3 or 4 games a day, we'll have a show up and at it, ready to go. Timing TBD, because as most of you know that love baseball, if you don't know already, a lot of day games and kind of gets finicky in terms of how the pod gets released. So stay tuned for timing purposes. But the plan is we're going to have basically podcasts every day in October, getting you through the Fall Classic and through the end of the month of October. So look forward to that. There's not much time left in the season for some of these teams. We will get to Houston and Seattle. That is the marquee matchup, not just today, but for the week. There's a lot of implications that are super crucial for the American League West. Those teams are facing each other. So what we'll do here, Charlie and BJ, if you got a bet on one of the 4 games, you give it. If you don't, we move on. So let's just start with Arizona and New York. Charlie, do you have a play on this game?
I do not, but I have a lean on the Yankees matchup between Clark Schmidt, Merrill Kelly. Kelly, about a 4 expected ERA, a negative regression candidate, kind of escaped that all season long. He's got a career worse in walk rate and hard hit rate, but just hasn't really, gotten hit hard. A 77 left on base rate. So he's been stranding runners, been a bit of a luck box, and Clark Schmidt has kind of been the opposite. I'm actually high on Schmidt. His biggest issue is that he struggles against left-handed hitters, but he's expected ERA down in the low 4s rather than where his ERA currently sits in that mid to high 4 range. To me, it's just a matter of, the Yankees have the better offense over the last 14 days. They rank higher in WRC plus. Aaron Judge back in that lineup pays dividends. We saw it on Friday night when my Arizona moneyline bet got torn up because Judge hit 2 home runs. But the Yankees, I think, have a slight offensive advantage right now, especially in the matchup against right-handed pitching. And they have the better bullpen. They're the way better bullpen here, especially with Holmes in the back end versus this Arizona pen that kind of seems to be blowing a lot of games. So lean toward the Yankees, especially as an underdog at home, but no play from me. Yeah.
It's going to be a soggy day in the Bronx, BJ. I think that relates to why you might want to touch this game.
Yeah. So I did project a little value in the over 8.3 runs before accounting for the weather, but like you said, it's going to be soggy. We got the wind blowing in 12 miles an hour from left field. So this is an easy pass with 2 lineups that are below average over the last 30 days. Yankees, one of the worst lineups against right-handed pitching. So easy pass for me.
2 other American League West teams play each other today. The Rangers and Angels. Again, just a 4-game slate. We're going to just touch all 4 games because why not? Seeing value at all, Texas, John Gray. John Gray's on the mound. That'll be interesting to watch. If Texas gets in, how does he look coming back from the injury? If he can be a factor. Rangers on the road at Los Angeles, -185, Charlie. Sandoval's on the mound for the Angels. They're +150 on the money line.
Yeah, I mean, you can't pay me to bet on John Gray, so I'm not going to be betting on the Rangers or on a total here. His expected ERA in the mid-4s, low barrels, but his strikeout rate is his lowest since the COVID year. I just don't really love backing John Gray. He kind of scares me. He was a left on base, wizard early on in the season. It's kind of come back, but and just Sandoval, I don't know what happened to him. I was pretty high on him last year. He did well last year. The beginning of the year, he was solid, and it's kind of all fallen apart with a iffy command, a declining strikeout rate. So if you want to bet this game, and I don't have 777s today because it's just 4 games, I would look toward Josh Young, number 1 on the team against left-handed pitching with a 177 WRC plus and a 311 isolated power. He crushes lefties. He's coming back from injury, so he does have a home run, but it's always scary to back a guy coming off an injury, especially a hitter. But Sandoval, worse at home, obviously worse against right-handed hitting. Josh Young crushes lefties. So if you want to play, that is where I would look.
Also, my bad. I'm thinking John Means, not John Gray. Apologies. John Means with the Orioles. I mixed up John's.
Yeah, one has Jon, the other is John.
I don't know if you can trust a guy without the H.
Yeah, I can't.
Can't. That'd be my handicap on it. John Jon. Come on. Anyway, BJ, you got to play here? Would you dabble on the Angels?
Maybe. I don't know. I was just checking Zarill's projection. He has it at -139. I have a -138. So I'm staring at this like, yeah, there's value on the Angels. John Gray's given up over 3 earned runs in his last 4 starts. Like Charlie already mentioned, he was a bit of a left on base wizard. He hasn't been pitching well as of late. The Rangers offense is getting better though. 340 weighted on base average over the last 30 days. And you just, I just went on Fangraphs and looked at the Angels lineup, and it's not good. Look at it, not great. But there is value on the Angels if somebody out there wants to dabble on them at +165. Might have to go to a park bench somewhere and just stare and see if I actually want to play them tonight. So if you're so inclined, there is value on the Angels. I'm still deciding on whether I want to do it or not.
Okay. I think both of you, I know I'm looking at the app now. BJ did bet the Houston Astros. Justin Verlander is pitching tonight. They're in Seattle. So if you don't know already, Houston and Seattle are facing each other this week. And it's fascinating because Seattle is 8-2 against Houston in this regular season. Remember, they shrunk the division head-to-head schedule this year. So they're only going to play each other 13 times as opposed to 19. They added more interleague games. And Texas is going to win the West. In the wild card, though, Houston has a half-game lead on the Mariners entering the series. And Charlie, you like Houston tonight. Why might you like Houston with Verlander against Luis Castillo?
Yeah, I mean, Houston is not dead in the AL West, and neither is Seattle, based on, Seattle has 4 games with Texas to end the season. So still a lot to be had, but this is the playoff series. This is as pivotal a series as I've seen in some time. I like the Astros here. Luis Castillo, his xERA is pretty similar to Verlander's. The biggest difference here is that he gives up a lot more barrels and his hard hit rate is a little bit higher. Obviously, he has more strikeouts, but he's kind of been a bit of a negative regression candidate for some time. I know that Zorillo and DeBondo have long been fading Castillo, whether it's an over or a money line on the opposite team. His BABIP's right around like 260. It's well below his career average and projections, which is about 10 to 20 points higher. Verlander, obviously, we've seen the decline in strikeouts, but I like him here. I backed him against the Orioles last time out, and they lost and blew it because Presley blew a lead late, but a few bloop hits ended up giving him 3 earned runs, but he's pitched a lot better of late. Both these offenses pretty similar against right-handed pitching, but the Astros actually over the last 30 days, they're number 1 in WRC plus. Over the last 14, 11th, the Seattle is 11th and 16th respectively. So better offense. And I'd say it's about a wash in the bullpen battle. And you're telling me that I'm going to get in a do or die series, a team at plus money that I think is slightly better. And I would have told you that they would not have been swept by KC. So I think we're going to get an angry Astros team against a Seattle Mariners squad that is declining. So give me the Astros at plus money here.
Yeah, the pitching matchups for this series are pretty good. They'll play on TBS tomorrow. Javier faces Kirby tomorrow, and then Valdez Miller is your matchup for the third game. BJ, thoughts on tonight with Verlander facing Castillo? And who's this game? What about is this game bigger? This game has to be bigger for Houston, right? Because of just the edge the Mariners have in the season series and the fact that the M's have a half-game lead.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's definitely bigger for the Astros. And yeah, I agree with Charlie. I do like the Astros at plus 110 on the money line. So, echoing everything Charlie already said, the other thing with Castillo is he's not a big stuff plus guy. Like, he's very, very good with his location, but overall for the season, his stuff plus is at 96. And then even when you go over the last 30 days, it's down to 87. He's basically just got one good pitch, it's a slider, and everything else is well below average. The Astros are the number 1 lineup in Major League Baseball over the last 30 days, hitting the crap out of the ball right now. And Verlander's a very interesting candidate because, yes, he hasn't pitched well since coming over to Houston, but overall for the season, he's got the exact same expected ERA as Castillo. And so if you take the Astros lineup, which is better than the Mariners right now, you give Houston a slight edge here, and then you obviously account for home field advantage, then you're getting closer to around even money, which Cirillo does have the Mariners only projected at minus 103. So some decent value on the Astros tonight. And Verlander, another thing with him, most righties, right-handed pitchers tend to struggle against lefties. Well, Verlander is actually excellent against left-handed batters. And the way that the Mariners platoon, I don't know if they'll do this tonight, because if they know this, they might not do it. But they have 6 left-handed bats they can put in their lineup against righties. So that could give Verlander a pretty good edge here. I projected the Astros as a slight favorite at minus 105. So Houston plus 110. Good enough for me to agree with Charlie.
Yeah, we also, the kitchen sink is going to be thrown by the Astros. Everyone's available in that bullpen. And Seattle, they had Topa pitch back-to-back days. So that's one of their top 3 arms. Also out. Munoz pitched yesterday too. So obviously he'll be available today. But Seattle's trying to use everybody just as much as Houston is. And without Topa, and in a game that I think is going to be close, you got to give the edge to the Astros, especially with that lineup.
You guys got me excited. This feels like playoff baseball.
Yeah, it basically is a playoff game.
Yeah.
They have to win. They have to win 2 out of 3. If they lose, if they lose 2 out of 3, then all of a sudden they're down. I think they're down a half a game, and then they would need Texas, who probably has that division wrapped up by then, and Texas can kind of hand pick. And if they want to throw out a lineup, that's of AAA players just to end the season and give Seattle the advantage over Houston in the long run.
Yeah. And Seattle just swept, Texas just swept Seattle over the weekend. And that is why the Rangers are sitting pretty with a week to go.
Yeah. While KC swept the Astros.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, hopefully Cirillo bet and all of you bet the Royals. They've been the team. We've talked about the Royals a ton on this podcast in the second half of the year. Also, love the use of kitchen sink. I felt like I was talking to Brandon Anderson previewing an NFL game. The kitchen sink week.
Also, that we should mention, because the Blue Jays are 2 games up on the Astros right now. They finish out with both the Yankees and the Rays. So things could get even more interesting by Friday, Saturday, if the Blue Jays start to crumble.
Well, still playing games. We only get a week more of this team. The Padres. They're playing the sick of talking about these guys. Like, just get out of my face. Padres Giants to take us home. Charlie, a play on this one tonight for this game, and it's Blake Snell. Blake Snell, it was probably going to win the Cy Young. They're favorites tonight on the road against the Giants and Logan Webb.
Yeah, Blake Snell, the Cy Young Award winner. I was telling Devon, though, I was like, what if the Padres never lose, but the Cubs swept the Rockies? The Padres lost, I think, 2 games ago, so they're all but done. They should be in the playoffs, but of course they're not. I would say the under is my lean here. I don't have a play. Logan Webb is a bottom 10 in hard hit rate, but I don't know, when you look at this game and you look at the Padres, and especially now with the series, the season's basically all over, how much motivation will they have? We've seen plenty of times this team falls short and come up flat, especially on the offensive end. Machado's drawing plenty of criticism in that Tribune piece just about how they prep for this stuff. So Webb is an above average arm. He was in the Cy Young race for a long time, fell off a little bit of late. And then Snell obviously is all but likely the Cy Young winner. It would take a catastrophic event for him not to. Both these pitchers have around similar xERAs. Snell's elite strikeout and whiff rate kind of leads to his xERA being inflated, and he's able to get out of jams. But to me, the Giants can't hit, and they also can't hit lefties, and I just don't trust this Padres offense. And I think that we could easily see like a 1-0 game and just a war of attrition, and just see who is going to score. And it's just, these 2 teams are done. It's so under lean for me, but I can't be betting a lot of these games where motivation is incredibly difficult to even handicap.
Yeah, useless game. This is one of those, just roll the hands over, ground out to short, ground out to second. Let's get the hell out of here. Unless you haven't played BJ that you're compelled to give.
The value, like Charlie mentioned, the value is on the Giants here, just because if you look at both these pitchers' expected ERAs, they're eventually specifically the same. And even though San Diego has been hitting the ball better than the Giants as of late, giving home field advantage to the Giants would give them a slight edge here because I have them as ever so slight favorites. So if anything, I think the value's on the Giants. But again, I'm not betting this game. There's no way.
That would be and here I am. I'm going to sound like the old school, like whiny, or even like the new millennial whiny baseball fan. But like, this is the problem with the sport. There's not enough. Like Seattle, Houston is excellent. That is an excellent series that people should be dialed into. But there's too many series that don't mean anything at this point. So it's like, you really got to play 162 of these things. If it's like, if you're done, like there should be a cutoff line, just like they do call ups. If you're like at a certain record, just go away in September. That's the reward. You just get to go away and start your off season early.
You get to go away and play golf and watch football, and that's it. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that wouldn't work with contracts, and I know it doesn't work. But
by the way,
like that.
We should mention Blake Snell minus 6,000 to be the NL Cy Young right now. So catastrophic would have to be like, I don't know, 2 9-run outings, and Justin Steele, if he pitches twice, throws 2 perfect games, I guess. I don't know. So
it would have to take a lot or something horrible to happen to
Snell would have to give up 9 runs in the first inning tonight. And again in his next start.
What's Justin Steele's number?
He's 25-1. That's not even close to good enough. So
yeah, it's over. Good job, Tanner McGrath, who will join us tomorrow.
Steele, I think, didn't he get clobbered his last time out by Pittsburgh? So
yeah,
that was the icing on the cake.
That's that and the AL MVP are the only 2 markets that are up right now.
With the AL MVP market?
Yeah, Ohtani's like minus 20,000. So if any of you was so inclined to go put 2 dimes down and take $1 for free, I mean, go ahead.
Okay, short slate, short show. We'll get out of here. We'll talk more about Seattle and Houston tomorrow. Charlie, are you here tomorrow?
No, I'm here Friday.
Oh, it's Tanner and DeBundo. You're both not here tomorrow. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it for Charlie Disturco and BJ Cunningham, Brendan Glasheen. Thanks for listening to Payoff Pitch. We're presented by BetMGM. Back here tomorrow. Talk to you then.